Thank you very much for having me today and to the ACS. It is indeed a very good opportunity for me to share and share my thoughts on what we need to know about soft skills, which is what is required for you to really get into the industry and make an impact. I think the most important place to start from is what is the difference between academics and work? And that's the reason I want to start from here is because when I was in school and dealing with academics, I think the most critical thing for me was, putting out the best papers, putting out the best research. But I think the problem was I had little or no connection to how it translates into a product or how it translates into a business. I was more interested in the long formulas and how we optimize things. But then, as I moved on from my academic career to my industry career, it became very important that when you translate whatever innovation that you have and you're turning that into a product and you're going to be serving customers, that you begin to transit into more people-oriented skills. And that is what the soft skills are. The soft skills is not so. Right now in academics, you're dealing with formulas, you're dealing with theories. But if you want to translate that to a product or a service, there is no way you can do that without serving your customers in the best possible way. And if you need that, before you can achieve that, you need soft skills. So soft skills is a synonym for people skills, and it's a term that describes those personal attributes that indicate a high level of emotional intelligence. Unlike the hard skills that we're used to, which you learn, your technical skill set and your ability to perform your task, you need to develop your soft skills in order to keep your job. So in a nutshell, the hard skills will get you an interview, but the soft skills will tell somebody if you've got the attitude to be able to work and produce results in a customer-focused environment. Why do we need soft skills? You need to be able to handle interpersonal relations, to make and take appropriate decisions, to communicate effectively, to make a good impression and impact, and to gain professional development, all of which are very important imperatives within the working environment. What are the key soft skills that you need to get? Communication skills is very important because, I put it into context, if you are working in an environment and you don't have visibility for what you do, you could actually be the one doing the work, and somebody who can do very fanciful slides will take that same work, present it in a very impressive way, and take the credit. And then you are the background worker. You need to be able to impactfully communicate whatever you're doing technically in a way that gains the appreciation of your management staff. Flexibility and adaptability. Let me say it very clearly that the illiterates of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who are unable to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And so it is very important for you to learn to put your adaptability skill sets into play and to develop it very properly. Now, what I typically advise people is have a template. And the template would have a template that you've optimized, that it always works regardless of the situation. What do I advise in that regard is, one, you identify, if you go into a new place and you need to adapt, have a situational awareness of the environment that you are. What are the gaps between what you know and what you need to know? What are the resources that you need to be able to, beef up your skill sets, and also what are the contacts that you need to build to assist you to go through. Who are the mentors you need to speak to? And these are things that once you have the formula and you're applying the formula in that manner, you can always adapt to any situation. Making decisions is very important as well. It's one of the soft skills you got to learn. When you see yourself in a situation where, you know, leadership is all about taking decisions. It's not always the crystal clear situation that you would have always the very best options available to you and very crystal clear. Sometimes you have to start from the known option and then graduate to the unknown options based on very clear decision-making process which you have to develop. You also have to understand that sometimes there is no right or wrong answer. There are only answers that have more consequences than others, and answers that only the future will tell you if it was correct or not. It's not apparent. But you got to develop your ability to be able to look at the options available to you and then take the most appropriate decision that you feel at the time. Review your decisions as you go along in life and then optimize as required. You can have a bad start, but you got to have the attitude to be able to build on whatever start you have. Don't, put yourself down and say, I've got a bad start, that is the end of the story. Absolutely not. Your decisions could be optimized and you could even do better. Interpersonal skills is another important one. When I started as an intern in my early career, there was a priceless advice that a mentor gave to me. During my break time, I went into his office and I said, let's have a chat. And I asked him, what are the things that you think, if you had a chance to come back and start your career again, and this was a guy, he had done 32 years in ExxonMobil, if you had a chance to start your career again, what are those things that you would love to do differently? And he told me point blank, at the time I was a doctor, he said, Dr. Wisdom? I said, yes. He said, your network is your net worth. And you got to build that very intentionally. Where you cannot reach with your technical skills, your network would open those doors for you. So what am I saying? You got to be very intentional in building your interpersonal skills. And in building same, you'd also have to ensure that there is a symbiotic exchange of value within you and your network. It should not be parasitical. It should not be where you're gaining alone. Always look out for an opportunity to have a value exchange between you and your network. And I'm going to give a practical example if time allows. When I was presenting a conference in Ghana. That was one of my first conferences. And I updated this within my contact list or network on LinkedIn. And that's very important. You also have to feed your network with your updates, and you got to make sure it's competitive enough to feed them properly. So I put out my content there, and I had a call from the office of the Minister for State Petroleum Resources, because I had at the time taken the night cramming these formulas, thinking I've got the advantage because I can write them all out. He said, Wisdom, I don't know what you do in West Africa and Nigeria. I'm not interested. We're not here to test your memory. We're here to test your understanding. It is very important. Do not compete with nobody. You're not in the space with nobody for competition. Hone in on your value proposition. That is very important. And then my final thing is time management and your ability to work under pressure. Whether or not you think you would need to work under pressure, I can assure you that there will be times where you would have to work. And then you got to develop your ability to delegate. When leadership comes, there'll be times where you need to push priorities to other people and get them to share your vision. Thank you very much for having me to speak to you, and I hope I've been able to excite you guys or whet your appetites on what you need as soft skills to survive in the workplace. Thank you very much.